We can send expeditions out to explore our island and discover valuable resources.
Alrighty. The fuck's going on here, yo? Oh, clearly I've gone more insane than I was before.
We just discovered the number of times you need to get hit by a plank to actually discover something. It is around 7, depending on the plank in question. We call this the plank constant. I am sure it will become very important one day.
Alright, well, I was considering pausing to do my little intro. Good time, I guess, here. Get something of information on the screen. So yes, this is in fact Tropico5. Now, so geez, how can I get through this as quickly as possible? Well, that's, I guess I should have realized when the music anyways. Geez, hope we don't come into the same sort of problem that we had when allowing the music from NHL 19 to play to get our YouTube replays of live broadcasts banned in all countries, because everyone involved in that is fucking stupid. But so that kind of starts to the point, really, which was that, a little while back now, got the console, got games, plural, but really just all the games that were supposedly setting yourself up to get the best start in NHL 19 on the very first day that it was available, which happened to be about 3 days after EA Access to get into the game, and that's only available on Xbox, and this is a PS4, as you should be able to tell from the fact that it's got an X button right there for OK, and a variety of other ways as well. So the thing is, though, it wasn't really that much of a detriment, I guess, that that players on the Xbox side were able to get in 3 days earlier than I was, because there's no cross-platform anything. There's no cross-platform trading or selling or anything like that. I still honestly don't even know if there's cross-platform playing. Like if they're in the same Hot Champions as we are. I thought so, but I give so less, like, negative amounts, less than 0 shits about that game currently, that I don't even care enough to try to think about whether that's the case or not. So that sucked. Then moved on to the second one, which was Red Dead Redemption 2, and I kind of knew from the beginning what to expect there, and it met expectations, right? I mean, it's a Rockstar game. They're going to be a million times better than the shitty production house at EA Sports NHL that put together NHL 19. Sadly for them, apparently NHL 19 being considered by most people who've played the game in the last 5-6 years as the best iteration and version of that game that they've put out. Really sad to say, because the game is absolute fucking dog shit terrible, like just the worst. They owe so much money to the players, myself included, that put any money into the game, that even just bought the fucking game. And now they're trying this bullshit where packaging it with Madden MLB 18, which is only like 10, 11 months old at this point, and NBA Live as for $100, basically making each one of those seem to be worth $25 as opposed to paying $50, $60 or more if you get higher level versions of the game for each of those. And yeah, obviously those 4 that you get in that $100 current package that I imagine will be available through the end of the holiday season, if not longer. But can't be too long, because then it'll start to get into the time when MLB 19 will be available, which you can pre-order right now if you want to. I'm not really sure why you'd want to put money down right now for something that you can't play until I think about March. But who am I to tell you what to do? So feel free. But again, that would be another reason why it would seem very odd to me, at least. Why it makes sense why they're trying to scam people out of the money for that. For the holiday season, but then I don't know if it has to happen January 1, but if you go more than, say, a week and a half, 2 weeks into January, and that deal is still available, I would be definitely shocked. But I'm new to all this, so I wouldn't know. It's not as if this year was the first year that I ever bought anything through the PlayStation Store. I've had every version of PlayStation that I've owned except for PS1, but I played a ton of PS1 back in the day. I just didn't actually own one myself, I don't think. 4 still have all of them currently. Actually, the what is that? That's the 2. Like there's a 2 like literally right there. So I mean, who knows if the fucking thing works and if I even have the correct things to plug it in, which seems a bit strange on this screen, right? Because I'm showing a game that is effectively super old in my opinion, but as far as console versions, it seems like it's more new, I guess. I don't know. We'll get to that in a second though. So point being, those 2 games basically just ruined my whole PS4 experience. I was basically done with it after NHL. And unfortunately for me, I think I wasn't prepared for the hype of RDR2. It's probably not that big of a deal, honestly. But I didn't pre-order. I actually didn't even get it when it came out. I got it a little late. There's a couple of things that I'm potentially going to be able to do that RDR2 specifically was included in. But I would have been basically like about a month or so late. I think at least a month late into having that. And from what I know now, I'm still on probably the original build, the original version of that game, and never playing. I haven't played it. I broadcast every time I play, so whatever the last broadcast is of that game would have been the last time I played, which is probably more than a week ago, if not 2. But I'm staying on the old build so that I can continue to abuse the infinite money glitch, the infinite gold bar glitch, and all those things. Because fuck it, why not? I don't have any desire to play the game quote unquote straight up or whatever. I'm not like cheating. I am absolutely exploiting them. I was interested to see if there's going to be any sort of carryover from single player mode to multiplayer, or quote unquote, or online, referred to as Red Dead Online. And thus far there has not been, and even though they're looking to make some changes already prior to, I guess, full release or whatever, it doesn't appear as though there's going to be any carryover at all. Like none. Like everyone starts Red Dead Online exactly the same, which I'm in favor of, and there appears to be kind of a setup there where it suggests that grind is more valuable online than it was in single player. Even though, I mean, no offense to them, it's a great game. They're great developers, but I mean, single player is a fucking slosh, dude. It's such a slow game. I try to get around those types of things when I've played it by basically almost always going into cinematic mode and just letting my horse get me there. But you know, that kind of caused a problem at least once or twice when I accidentally went into Blackwater, even though I don't think that was on the original intended path. So that wasn't 100% foolproof. And I mean, I would do that because I watch a few people streaming, or like you're going to be watching here, because there's nobody in the room right now if you watch this, watching replays on YouTube of live streams, and they seemed like they almost never wanted to do cinematic mode and kind of the automation of the horse from one point to their set point. It seems strange. One of the ones that I watched the most ended up explaining it actually once they started streaming in Red Dead Online, which was just that from their perspective, they felt as though they could kind of almost take more shortcuts and things like that, that would get to the spot quicker. Sure, okay, fine, but also I can just like literally walk away and not even be in the same room as the fucking game, and it will still get there at some point. So I guess maybe they wouldn't want to do that because they have people actually in the stream watching it live. I don't know, but if you're, unless you're responding to like literally every single chat message that comes in, or if you have a ton of them, at least responding to the serious or good ones or whatever, I think that logic is a bit skewed, and I understand it, but it's still skewed. I don't think it's necessary to be present at all times. And you would see that if you go back to any of my replays of my streams. Particularly, I didn't do very many super long ones for NHL because you basically can't. I mean, I think I did a set of like three games in NHL in which I didn't touch the controller, didn't play at all, as a test to see if they had fixed the mechanics, because the mechanics in the game were fucked from day one. Improved in some ways and got worse in others, and then over time they just got even worse and worse. So one of the supposed improvements, I was effectively testing that, and did that by playing another player online and not playing at all, and did that in a series of 3 because it completed an objective for me by doing that. Gave me a few coins for the in-game currency in that game. Other than that, though, I can't remember any very long streams in NHL, with maybe an exception or two in which I probably did something similar to that, and then had people joined those much more often than they joined the Red Dead ones, and I think they were mostly other NHL players, and would ask various questions in terms of like the auction house and stuff like that I'd have answers for, and then typically that would lead into a bunch of discussions and stuff like that, some of which would be about how older versions of games, and before online became a thing, before DLC became a thing, before everything was ruined by microtransactions and developers' desire to basically just pull on your purse strings with every single fucking thing that they do and every choice that they make, games were better. Including current iterations of games that used to exist back then. NHL, the example is NHL 94, or if you even want to say 96, but I don't remember exactly when the thing got cut out, but 94 for sure, as opposed to 19. That's a long period of time. That's a 20-year difference. there used to be blood in the game. There used to be actual true blood in the game, and not like it was a very old arcadey game. And so, as opposed to like the realism and realistic version of it now, where like, yeah, they might get a cut or whatever, and so it might seem like there's like a little drip of blood. And I don't know, maybe they have that in NBA now, but because of the Magic Johnson rule, you know, if it's an actual like official NBA game that they're playing as opposed to one on the courts, because it seems like all anybody cares about in basketball games now is street ball. In console games, no fucking idea about PC basketball games, if that's even a thing. So yeah, if it's an NBA regulated game, that means that they would have gotten licensed from the NBA, and so there's no way that they would have, unless it would be like an unintended glitch. And I'm sure everyone that, you know, if it's got enough of the community, would get up in arms within about 2 seconds if they allowed it to happen. They would never allow a player with any drip of blood to be able to get back onto the court without taking the timeout to ensure everything that they do in real life of making sure that the blood is contained and therefore not going out. And that if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, if you have no idea what the Magic Johnson rule is or whatever, it was a bit of a shock to some people, I guess, when it first came out that he was HIV positive. At the time, the news was that he had AIDS. And you can get into the distinction of, you know, the difference between the two. There is a difference. He does not have AIDS yet. But that was a long time ago, and he's still fucking living and has made, you know, 95% of his billions since then. So, by not playing basketball, but yeah, that was a genuine concern at the time of like, hey, we got this guy playing, even though it was the end of his career, and we know. There's probably more, but we know definitively that one person, one of the highest profile players at the time, had HIV. And so other players were like, well, I could get it from his blood. I don't want to fucking do that. So yeah, it made it a whole thing where you had to do the whole timeout and make sure that they weren't bleeding, etc. Hey, we got somebody here. I'm not on the screen though, so I can't see who you are or whatever. But just in case you're here for Tropico, I guess I won't continue on what I was just talking about, which was Magic Johnson in the NBA. So anyway, I'm done with both of those games. I'm done with NHL 19. I have been done with that game for about 2 months now. I still pay attention to the things that they're doing in case they're going to actually make any improvements, but they're not. And improvements that they say that they're making are not actual improvements and are just there to, again, pull on your purse strings. Red Dead Redemption 2, I will still stay for a while, I assume, on the current build and be able to use the glitches. Because if you upgrade at all, then they've already patched those things and you can't use them. And fuck that, I'm going to use the patches, or use the glitches before they patch them. Which is why I can't get into Red Dead Online, even though I had the version of the game that meant that I was either the first or one of the first to be able to have access to it. The beta, and opted not to. Instead, I just watched other people do it, and it seems okay. Huge paywall, huge pay to win, totally part of the whole microtransaction bullshit that's going on. And now they've walked that back a bit. I didn't see specific details yet. I did see, I think like yesterday they announced that they're going to walk that back, but again, no specifics. And most of the players are not really expecting like a huge walk back, just making it so that like the tasks and objectives that you can complete will be a bit more valuable in terms of earning money and or gold, but probably not a reduction in the cost of things that you need or want, say like the best weapons in the game. And so it is what it is. You know, they're willing to be a part of that thing, and it's not new for them, from what I've been told, is that GTA 5 Online, whatever the fuck they call that, did the exact same thing. Now, I played GTA 5 on my PS3, and and never once did multiplayer of any sort of type or whatever. And I never got to GTA 5 Online, never did that. I don't recall any significant pay scales or pay to win in single player GTA 5 available for PS3 at the time. So while I've been aware of these things, it hasn't really impacted me. And now that it's impacted me in two games with very different experiences and very different feelings of, I don't know, enjoyment or accomplishment on my part between the two games, and one very distinct feeling towards one of the developers and a different sort of feeling towards the other one. I stumbled upon this because it was in my. I was literally going to click into NHL 19 and just take the free bullshit from the daily rewards. But next to this was this thing, was PS Now, and I was so tired that I thought it was PS Plus, and I was very upset and annoyed as to why they were telling me that I could get a trial for something that I already thought I had. I previously looked at PS Now stuff. I guess it just wasn't really much my bag or anything I was interested in or whatever, but now it is, and now we've got this. So long story short, that's why we're here now at Tropico5. I've also set for download. It hasn't completed because I don't think it's popped up on my top left part of the screen yet. Downloading, what is it? Mafia 3. Now, I have not played that game in any form or fashion, but I've played, I believe I've played games in that series before. I think I might have played Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, and I feel like they were console versions, but who knows, I could have played a PC version of it as well. But currently downloading that, and then I'll go back in and I'll look to see what else is available there. Now, this is going to be just the thing for now that is only available for 7 days for me, but I've got another thing separate to here where I can get access to a decent library of things, and I have to imagine that games like this, if they do exist, you know, in the PS4 economy, then there'll be things that I'll be able to go and get access to and not have to pay the PS Now subscription monthly rate to be able to play. So that's great, because at least for the next 7 days, I guess I can try to test out things. The issue is I'm probably going to be so into this game in particular that I might waste the entire, or most of the entire 7 days just playing this one game. Now, I can't show you on this screen, but unfortunately there is DLC for this. I think I can show you. See, I'd have to. I'm paused, so I'd have to click OK to be able to do it. But pardon me. There is DLC for this game, and it's something that's probably going to very much bother me, because I read the names of the 5 or 6 of them that are there, and I clicked on one and read through it, and it was okay. So long story short, I played this game already to quote unquote my completion, and I played it on PC. I played it back in the day, and then I played it again about a year, or yeah, probably about a little over a year ago, PC version. And spoiler alert, I wasn't able to finish because I got to the part where you start kind of going through the whole time loop thing, and it seemed as though there was no ability to kind of beat the antagonist in this game, no matter how many times you kind of go through that time loop and switch sides, etc. And then I kind of gave up on it, and then I just, things happened. I never played again. So I'm interested to see how far this will go, and I'm already a little bit feeling like it, even in the course of 7 days, if I play 7 straight days, which shouldn't take that long to finish, it seems like I'm not going to even be able to get to that point, because things like espionage, things like epic meltdown are part of DLC, and I, especially for a game that I don't own, I've downloaded this, but I think that I'd have to have an active PS Now subscription to be able to play it. I'll look into this, but I think that's what it means. I don't think that I own the game now because I downloaded it when I had an active subscription. If that's the case, then I will. I don't know. I don't know how much space I have, but I could maybe just like fucking download almost everything, and then go back and play after the subscription ends. That would stand to reason that they would not set it up that way. That would make no sense. So yeah, it should not take me the bulk of the next week to finish this game, even if it was complete finish to the point where I did on the PC side. But the PC version of this game I really enjoy. I've played probably all. I mean, this says it's Tropico5. I felt like there were more than 5 versions because they did the whole different iterations the same way that Sims does and other games like that, where they've got numbers, but then different versions have different types added onto it and stuff like that. So and I guess interestingly enough for me, Sims being a game that is available both PC and console still to this day, and so this I had no idea was available for console. If I saw that, I probably just thought, well, that would be stupid to play on console, so why would I ever want to do that? But no, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And so we're gonna click OK here. See in here, what? Where did it? What? So it's not even. That's weird. All right, so I guess it's only at the. Oh, main menu. No, I don't want to abandon the current game. So it's probably in the main menu is where I could go to. This is I'm pretty far away from my screen, but it's a big screen, so and I'm on full screen, so I should be able to figure this out. Why is this okay? So those ones we can't do. So either gotta do the. Sorry, it's been a minute since I played the Fort, newspaper, or Constitution. I'll go Fort. And then you put all the things in the queue, and you can actually put things. I'm assuming this works the same way the other one did. Nope. So you can't put things in the queue that have not been unlocked yet. But anyway, point being, I'm gonna play the fuck out of this game. We'll see how far we're gonna get. However, that DLC, it's expensive. The cheapest one's $5. Most expensive one's 10. So that doesn't sound like much, but you got to get 5 of them. So it's $35. So I'm absolutely not paying $35 for content for a game that I'm effective. Oh, why am I speeding? Hold on. For a game that we have more tutorial tasks yet? No, gotta wait for them to finish exploring. Maybe I shouldn't have gone so far.
Viva el Presidente!
Oh, because you guys haven't made it there yet. I was like, what is going on there? Oh, let me move. Got it the screen, cool. Because I want that to flash and finish. Back over here. There we go.
While waiting for the research to be completed, let us set up the production of raw materials. Let's order a logging camp from the Natural Resources category in the Build menu.
Okay, so first of all, we're in the tutorial still, which should be obvious. Anybody that's played this game or that can read English, because it says tutorial tasks at the bottom right. I'm basically just going through the tutorial for 2 reasons mainly. To see if there's any sort of drastic differences to console versus PC. I mean, there already is, because I'm using a controller from far away to play a game on my TV. Not that I can't play a PC game on my TV, but just the GUI, being how you interface with it is going to be different. And I've already felt that as I was playing the streaming version. feel like I'm gonna fuck up the whole ability to make this point, because you on PS Now you can stream games, whether you've downloaded them or not. Now I saved this to my list. I set it for download, and then I went in and started streaming it, knowing full well that it was a relatively small game, and so it shouldn't take that long to download, even if it was downloading concurrently simultaneously to Mafia 3, which I guess I'll probably check at some point to see if that's actually still going, because I kind of don't want to. I feel like I'd be kind of wasting time if it's not, because I want to look to see if there's other stuff in there that I want to get or play or whatever. Anyways, so I already went through the tutorial, but not this one. I went through the first one only, and then at that point it had already downloaded, and I think there's a way in which you can transfer data from your streamed version to your downloaded version, and you can, if you're a PS Plus member, you can save data to the cloud as opposed to on your console. My console's got plenty of space, and I don't, even with RDR2, which is a huge game, so I don't need to be using the cloud yet. I'm sure I will soon enough. I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but it'll happen. So as of right this minute, not too concerned about that. Really what I'm doing is testing this out, seeing what the gameplay is like on the console version compared to the PC version. And then, as I said, the real ultimate thing is just the joy of playing this game, which is very joyful. It's a great fucking game. It really is. One of my favorite developers, one of my favorite games that has been put out by a developer, and maybe it's part of the whole sort of rose-colored glasses of longing for games that came out prior to this current bullshit of the microtransactions and trying to pull on your purse strings. Now I realize I just said that this game is not the complete version, because I don't have the DLC, because it would cost me $35 and I have no interest in paying that right now. But for this specific game, part of the reason for not wanting to do that is because I had the full version, and in fact played it through Steam, so I would still be able to go back and access all of that if I wanted to. And I don't think, because I can't see myself doing this, I don't recall like paying, especially an exorbitant amount or too much more than sort of the regular amount, just to have all that stuff opened up on the PC version. So, it is what it is. So for this specific game, that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't look for DLC. Now, when I get into Mafia 3, if it turns out that, like, yeah, you gotta pay $5 if you want, like, the best gun in the game or some shit like that, we'll find out. And we'll get to that at some point. It'll be a different stream, because that's just how it works. You can't switch apps during the same broadcast, because PS4 doesn't let you do that. Yeah, for this game, I'm going to really enjoy playing it, and then I'm going to try to get through as much as I can, and then I'll probably run into the wall, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens from that point. Like, will the game consider it to have been completed and finished? Is it going to try to prompt me to get into the DLC and buy that stuff? That'd be annoying, and I'd be very disappointed in whomever it was that set that up. I would not expect Pop Top to be the ones that decided to set that up that way, but who knows, maybe not. And then, long story short, I guess, is that after this, we'll see what else is out there. But I'm really hoping to kind of run into some other, for me, true old school games that weren't necessarily even console games for me, that I still consider to be some of like the best games ever. I already went in to find this one. I already went into what was available on PS Now right now. Didn't mean to use now twice like that, but for what they're referring to as simulations, one of the games that I would look for there is Railroad Tycoon. I mean, I'll fucking play Railroad Tycoon 1. I don't care that it's not as good of a game as 2 was. just if that's all that's available. I didn't see it on the kind of quick glance of what was in Sims simulations and not the Sims. I hate that I have to make these distinctions. The Sims, by the way, also being a game that I've greatly enjoyed, and then it was part of the whole. Just start referring to it as the military-industrial complex, right? It was part of that whole bullshit, well before all that transferred over to the console environment on the PC side. So despite the fact that I love that game, and I think that developers there were also great. Yeah, it was definitely like not necessarily like a pay to win sort of thing, because I didn't do a whole lot of like multiplayer. I wasn't one of those that played the version where you are trying to interact with real people in a simulated game, and inviting them over there to your house and then trapping them in your house and then having them die in your house, and then you get their net worth added over to you. I wasn't one of those types of players. I didn't play that version of the game. So again, I was mostly playing the singular version of the game, let's refer to it as that, and greatly enjoyed it. And yeah, you probably had to pay a little bit more for some type of stuff and stuff like that, but I don't know. And I did look into Sims 5 for PS4. It seems like it's a bit of a dated game, and from my own opinion, I feel like the cost of the base game is a bit steep. And then it's got every type of DLC that you could ever imagine for that, and all of the add-ons and stuff like that. It seems a bit much for me. I'd have to investigate it, and who knows. I just don't expect to go down that road. However, as I said, this game, awesome. Railroad Tycoon 2 specifically, but 1 is fine as well. Would love to play. Doesn't look like that's going to be available here. That is very much a PC game. It would be strange to see a console version of that, but I would be jumping on that to check that out. It's a great fucking game, great developer. Games of all time. As far as I'm trying to think. I wanted to say this definitively, and I feel like I can't. Either was or very likely was strictly a PC game, and this might surprise people with my pick on this. It is The Movies. Now again, that particular game also had add-on content, and I think even went that route as opposed to coming up with The Movies 2. I think they just added so much to the original The Movies that that was the only iteration or version ever that came out of that game. I also think that what ended up happening there was the developer of that game, the full production house, the main company, does not even exist anymore, and so it I don't think it was. I'm trying to think of how this works. I don't think that it was available on Steam because of copyright issues because of that as well. And you could buy it disc version if you wanted to play on the PC, and I would fucking love to. I would absolutely love to. I'd much rather play only that than any of the millions of games that are out there in any other format, console, PC, etc. If that was the only game that I could ever play, if I had to pick one game that'd be the only game that I ever play again for the rest of my life, it would just be that. And I'm not saying like I would play today and play for the rest of my life. That would not happen. But I'd play for a fucking long time for sure. And I'd be more than happy with that selection. And I'd be fine with leaving out other fantastic games as well, whether they're new, current gen, next gen that's going to come out seemingly soon, or previous ones. So great stuff like Assassin's Creed, which I felt like I had gone the full distance in that game, in the old version that I had, the old console that I had, and now on PS4 it seems like I've missed out on it's hard to tell with all the different versions and the DLC and shit like that, but it seems like I've missed out on more than half of the different games as opposed to versions. of Assassin's Creed, but I don't know, I played like 4 or 5 different ones, like 1, 2, 3, and 1 or 2 of the other ones that had a different name that wasn't a number or whatever. But I haven't done Odyssey. I mean, once they took it kind of out of whatever, it became a whole different thing for me, and I haven't gone down that path. Maybe I will at some point. But great game, great developer. Who knows? Seems like maybe they jumped on the bandwagon as well. Not sure. That'd be very disappointing. They did a great job on the original concept, and then the first couple of build outs from there. I get it. You want to build a franchise, and then just sort of Lord of the Rings. It to death. I get it. Sorry, now it's making me forget other great ones that I wanted to point out, in my opinion, that were great games. Still steer clear of essentially all sports games for now, just because they've all been fucked at this point. I would say except for maybe super old ones like NBA. It's either just out now or it's coming out soon, like NBA 2K Playground 2 or some nonsense. It looks like a okay game, but it's it is what it is, and it's not $5. So NBA Jam was the original. It was fucking awesome. Obviously very arcadey. That was the whole fucking point of the game, honestly. Anybody that's like, well, this game is too arcadey, it's like they're probably playing the game in an arcade in like not like an actual what would you even refer to that as now, since it's not console, it's not PC, it's an actual hold on. We're gonna do a quick pause here. Be right back. All right, we are back. Life of a gamer, right? I like to pretend like that was something important in real life. It wasn't. And I'm not gonna suggest that the person who was attacking me in a non-console game who was doing so because they knew that I was streaming. That's I enjoy being conspiratorial because a lot of times that stuff actually can play out. Turns out to be true, and then therefore no longer considered a conspiracy. It's a fact, or as close to one as you can get in some of those cases. So I don't mind those sort of things, but in this case that'd be a bit much. I think that was just the thing that would have happened based on what was going on in that particular game, of me basically just not being there and being over here and doing this. But it didn't matter. I was completely protected and bonded, etc., as I tend to always be. Didn't even have the phone on. Got a message though. Appreciate that. So shout out to the person who knows who they are that got in contact with me. Not through here, not through the PS4, but it turned out I was okay. So I don't know where I was. I was probably pining about old games. I think I was literally talking about like I think that's exactly where I was. I was talking about NBA Jam and that being an arcade game, and then like it being such a long time since I played anything like that. I mean, I know they got them at Dave & Buster's and places like that nowadays still, but I'm sure that's a much different experience in 2018, about to be 2019, than it was even 5-10 years ago, or back in the day when I was a kid, giving away my age, of they had arcades that had arcade games in them, and there was almost next to nothing as far as consoles at that point. Obviously stuff like Sega Genesis came out, and then obviously SNES and stuff like that. So originally you wanted to play a game that wasn't Pong. Spoiler alert, I own that too. I don't have it anymore. I don't think that we didn't. It's not like we sold it or anything. But stuff happens, and it had no intrinsic value. It had no market value. I just thought it was really cool that we had this thing, and I don't think it was even the like. It was original, but I don't think that it was the first iteration. I think it was like the second iteration, which is still cool in my opinion. And yeah, I fucking played that too. Like, not at the time. It came to us, like, quote unquote recently, considering how old it is. Probably almost 15 years ago. And so at that time, I absolutely played that game on that quote unquote console. I mean, it was less of a console than this stuff that they're trying to sell right now, PS Classic, because PS Classic comes with 100 games, whereas that quote unquote console, the console was the game. It only had one game. It was Pong. It wasn't even called Pong. It was called something else. And that's literally all it was. You like, and that was it. It probably had less. I can't even make a good. It probably had less computing power than your current fucking microwave. You know what I mean? Like none. Just none. Like 4 bytes. Not even 4 kilobytes, not 4 megabytes, not 4 gigabytes, not 4 terabytes, like 4 bytes. Probably what was required to play that fucking thing. Probably used more like wattage and electricity than it did in power of computing, even at that time. Not even talking about like present day, where it's yeah. I was about to go into the whole cryptocurrency thing. I'm just not going to do that. I've gone on enough tangents. Haven't even played any of this game. Problem is, if I click accept, it's going to go into the next thing. And we're going to do that at some point. We're going to play. That's what this stream is. It's going to be me playing this game. But yeah, I've played a ton. I've played a ton. Now, the issue for me is that because if you look at sort of the entire, like from start to finish, it suggests, and I'll make the counter argument in half a second, but it suggests that current console games, and then especially in whatever it's going to be, a year, 2 years, certainly within the next 3 or 4 at the latest, we're going to have the 5th iteration, right? So PS5 and whatever the fuck they're going to call Xbox 5. Looks like they want to call it something else. Which obviously they're not going to call it Xbox 5, I guess, because the current version is Xbox One and Xbox One X, even though it's the 4th anyways. So it suggests that the library and catalog of current gen console games is more vast than compared to the entire catalog of all, let's just say, just only console games that existed prior. Even though there's games that existed on previous consoles that you can get on current consoles. That's part of the issue as to why I don't think that's true. The other part of the issue is why I don't think that's true is because of all this bullshit, all the DLC, all the add-ons and stuff like that. If you look at like the Sims in general, which I've mentioned already like 17 different times, and this time I am talking about the game The Sims as opposed to simulations. The Sims 5, as I said, I mean, it looks like it's got, if you just click into that, 1 second. All right. I have a cold. I get sniffles. I wish that was me pausing to do a Scarface size amount of cocaine, but unfortunately no. That was again the same game. Messages there that I had to address. I thought I was completely set. I was not completely set. there's if there's amount of things that you need to do there to be able to put yourself in a position like this where you can just kind of fuck off for 8 hours or 12 or more. I did X minus 1. So I had to do that last thing. I can come back to you fine folks watching the replay of this. There's nobody in the room watching the live broadcast. I will stop talking about all that stuff. The thing I was saying, this is all I'm saying here, is that I think that the full catalog of current gen console games that were developed exclusively for current gen consoles, and that I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's not just limited to PS4 and Xbox, but also anything that Nintendo has done, Switch. I feel like you should also probably almost include Wii in that too. And anything else that might exist that I just don't know about because I don't give a fuck. I've never owned any of those except for Wii, and that was almost a decade ago, so I haven't paid attention at all as to what has gone down with that. I feel like we're in a much different environment now than we were then, and I can't imagine that still has an existence, despite the fact that it's from Nintendo, which people like to say was the start, and I'm one of those people that falls into that trap sometimes, but technically, obviously a bunch of stuff existed before, and Sega, not just with Sega Genesis, but Sega in general, absolutely had a decent amount existing available to the public prior to SNES coming out. And now that I say that, I guess, geez, I should probably pay attention to whether or not I know things to be true before I say them, but I guess that would mean that regular, or that NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, would have come out before Super Nintendo Entertainment System, right? Trying to picture them both now. I don't have either one, so I can't look at one here, and I could very easily just Google it, but I prefer for me to try to see if I can remember these things. Yeah, I don't know why I've been I did that in previous live broadcasts too, and nobody really corrected me. Yeah, NES was a thing, and that existed before SNES. They were significantly different. And one of the things I was going to get to there was that was my start for me. I played Sega Genesis as well. I'd never owned either in my entire life, and yet logged and played hours upon hours with both, much less on Genesis than with Nintendo. And for me, the I think part of the game as to why I'm here today, playing games in general, I guess on consoles, because fuck it, the original game honestly for me was Oregon Trail. So I guess that's the real reason why why we're here. And so I guess in that sense it makes a little bit more sense as to why I'd be playing Tropico as opposed to a sports game. However, switching over to console, and the one that I probably played both of those close to the same amount of time, would have been RBI Baseball, the original. Like, I'm not putting a number on it, it's the original RBI Baseball, which I guess is technically RBI Baseball 1, but if you bought it and it said RBI Baseball 1, it wasn't the original, but basically played almost exactly the same way. And so that was the game. It was fucking phenomenal for the time. It's definitely nostalgia for me, because if I try to play that game today, just like the time that it fucking takes for the pitch to come in, for you to hit the pitch, for you to hit the home run, watch it go out, and then have to wait for the guy to go around the bases and stuff like that. I don't know, it could be about the same amount of time that exact same thing of you hitting a home run and running the bases would take in MLB The Show. But I feel like you could probably kind of skip a bit in MLB The Show, because parts of that can be cutscene, and if you're playing in in a speedier like fast game version, which I would tend to do if I especially if I was playing the traditional form of that game, which that game used to be so good. This EA Sports bullshit with Ultimate Teams just has fucking completely ruined almost every single game that they have ever created, and it sucks because EA in general and the EA Sports division are some of the best ever. And for me, having been around it effectively my entire life, but taking breaks in there so it wasn't consecutively that I was involved. And obviously taking a very long time to finally make the leap into current gen console now that it's going to be obsolete in a couple days. There was a lot that I kind of missed out on there, I guess, but kind of intentionally. You know, I just didn't really want to play, like, the first few times that I played the first few iterations of MLB The Show, it was just like the greatest fucking thing ever. And I'm trying to think of other games that, and I by the way, I know that MLB The Show was not original. Anyways, whatever. Point being, like, there were other games too that did the whole thing of like, okay, you are playing as it was no longer just a sports game, it was a sports simulation, and you were playing as an individual player, whether in an individual game, like I guess golf could be almost always individual, outside of the rare instances where you whatever. Anyways, it's mostly an individual sport. Bowling, again, would be mostly an individual sport. And yes, throughout the years, there have been tons and tons of games that have been put out in both of those quote-unquote sports. And they're not the only individual sports that exist either. Like almost every single Olympic game is technically an individual sport, even though the Olympics is very much team-based. So anyways, point being, like, you got to play as a player. You started at the beginning of that person's career, or almost even life in some cases. If it was like a baseball game and they let you play like little league games to start to build up, it was kind of that crazy in terms of how it was set up, and it was fucking phenomenal. It was such a great idea. I had asked for it. I had no connections, so it's not. I don't think that it was even just a anonymous letter that I probably sent about 20 years prior to the first version of that coming out that got them to think, hey, maybe we should do that. Like, it wasn't a unique thought, you know, other people had the thought, and so it's not me that came up with it for sure. Even though I was definitely pining for it well before it came out, and then played it when it first came out and was not disappointed. Felt like it very much lived up to expectations. It's now a part of every form of EA. Although I have not played, it sounds strange that I'm going to say this, but in NHL 19, I want to say I have not played a single game in NHL in the sports sim version of that, which they call, the fuck do they call it? The tropical island music is throwing me off here as I close my eyes and try to picture this, because I haven't been on that screen. And be a pro is what they call it, which again is not unique. But when you're putting out games in different loser, this guy. When you're putting out different, I will pause though if I get a different message that I'm gonna have to respond to. But yeah, if you're the same overall company that's got a bunch of different production houses, that in some cases the same production house can put out 2 different games from 2 different sports, then yeah, you can use the same terminology. You can call it all be a pro. But the fact that Be a Pro and all the rest of that stuff just kind of gets tied into Ultimate Team now, even though they are unique, almost exclusively in NHL 19. It's just like I just have almost no interest in playing it. Like once the actual game dies, which is entirely HUT, that's all there is to that game. Once that dies, and I'm greatly looking forward to when that happens, because it's been dead for me for quite some time, and I expect it will be for others as well soon, like possibly by beginning of the year. We'll see. I may go back in and play the Be a Pro mode. I did it just for the trophies. I played and got drafted first overall, which meant that I went to the Oilers, or the Sabres. Yeah, I went to the Sabres, and I found that interesting because Darlene was on my team too. And it was like, wait, hold on, what year am I in? What year did I get drafted? How am I playing in a game with the other the actual number one draft pick? But I don't know. I guess they could be suggesting that my draft year was the year after, but then why is it that the Sabres would have got the first overall again? Like, wouldn't you have to have known the outcome of this year's season, Darlene's first season, to find out if they've... Anyways, that's just my personal thoughts, and I haven't really explored it. But there were a couple of trophies, one of which was being drafted first overall, which you don't have to do very much, and then the other one was like playing like 3 games or something. I don't know. So I think I did that or whatever. Maybe I didn't. But then I just was like simming it, so I just didn't really give a fuck. So I will go back probably at some point and play for real, but who knows? You know, because at that point I'd probably give up on the whole PlayStation thing completely and don't even bother to renew my my PS Plus subscription, and then I think that limits what I can and cannot continue to play with. So now that we've done that whole thing, why don't we get to the whole thing that we're doing here, Tropico, which, by the way, I think that you're not going to be able to see the screen when I click on this. Ooh, I got like almost no battery. I haven't gotten a message about battery yet. I haven't gotten a notification that that's been downloaded. What, huh. Okay, we'll potentially be leaving this one as a rant, because I definitely want to click into here. Unless, is there a way to... Is there a way for me to see... Oh, okay. No, it's not there. Huh. Huh. How do I... Okay, I'm hoping this doesn't... Alright, cool. Cool. Alright, well, that wasn't what I came in here to do, but at least that's cracking. Huh. This other one is not here. I wonder why that is. Yeah, so we're probably going to get cut off here, because I'm going to click into PlayStation Now. That's probably going to cut things off for us on this broadcast, which kind of sucks. Yeah, because I can't do anything other than... Well, why would I need to download it then? What? If you get cut off here, I'll be back later. So I don't know why I just clicked. Click something though. Oh, okay. So I didn't have the... We're still live, by the way? And installed. And we are live. How is that? Cannot download... What? Alright, well, that's your fault. That's your fault. Sony, you fucked up on PlayStation Now. Alright, so I'm going to click start on PlayStation Now, and it looks like... I'm assuming that Tropico5 is going to get killed. Although, actually, hold on. I think I have to save. So you can see my screen here. I'm back into... Fuck. How come... Well, I wanted to see this screen because I didn't want to... Can you close without accepting? Cool. Okay, save the game. Oh, new save game. Solid. Stuff here. When I click into PS Now, it doesn't seem to be downloading. It does not appear to be. What's going on here? I don't know. So I click out. Alright, so I would be back on this screen here.
While waiting for the research to be completed, let us set up the production of raw materials. Let's order a logging camp from the natural resources category in the build menu.
Alright. Penny, penultimo, we will get there in a second. Man, I got no battery on the controller, which means I'm going to have to go back in and get closer and plug that in if I'm going to continue to play while on here. I'm clicking on this on start for PlayStation Now because I got to see what's going on with this Mafia 3 thing, and that will probably kill the broadcast. I don't know. We'll find out. So if so, I'll be back soon. Sorry that basically was almost entirely a rant about how shitty the gaming landscape is currently, gaming environment. So if so, peace out for now. I'll be back hopefully very soon. If not, I'll be back. I'll be here the whole time, and we'll get back over to Tropico5 in about a minute. So I'm still here. I don't know if you are. Am I talking to... There's nobody in the room, but am I talking to myself entirely now? Find out. Don't know what's with the delay here. Come on. If I am still broadcasting, what I'm currently doing is looking at a PlayStation Now screen that... Okay, here we go. Finally loading up. I suppose I could be fucking with my connectivity speeds by doing a broadcast, but I feel like this did this before when I was in here. I really don't understand why it's just... My internet's fine. I don't know if it's me being lumped into everybody that's streaming games through this service right now. And I don't mean live streaming like I am through YouTube. I mean like literally streaming the games through their service. Okay. Cool. Nah. Better idea than it was in actuality, it appears. Yeah, probably. Well, that's why it's barely more than 2 stars, right? Come on. Oh, we are still on air. Okay, well, for those of us that are here that can't see anything that I'm doing, happy 4:20 p.m. to those people in Central Time. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, so I clicked out by clicking the PS button and then clicked back in to PlayStation Now, and I'm back on the blue screen as it loads. I don't get it. I don't get it. This seems like horrifically horrendous fucking design. As I said, I mean, the fact that I'm streaming this with just audio onto YouTube right now with technically a decent frame rate. What the fuck? God damn it. You can probably hear the clicks through my microphone at least. So you know I'm actually doing stuff. Just, oh my god. Like it does not need to take this long. It really does not. My internet connectivity is perfectly fine. I do have other devices here that are technically also connected. They're not doing anything though. What? Dude, I did all this already. This is fucking bullshit. Well, whenever you're done initializing, so I can go back to the people that are waiting for me in Tropico5. Wow, it's starting to speed up. And that slows back down. Okay. I was gonna say 46 gigs. If you're gonna give that to me in like 5 minutes, I'll take it. But it looks like we're gonna be about 3 hours on that. Clicking out, go back in to Tropico5. Also technically downloading Dynasty Warriors 9 right now too, but I think that is, well, I don't know what the fuck that is. I think that's Empire's Edition or something like that. If you're in a noisy place, speak louder. I assume you're talking about, assume that's the game, the console telling me that about, anyway. I also have the other free games that come with PS Plus, as well as one that I was playing a bit of and will stream if it allows me to, assuming I have anything left there, and I don't know if I do or not. So we'll go back into here. Both microphone audio and gameplay are being broadcast. Okay, well, let's jump into Tropico5 now. I'll stop my rant. I talked enough. You get the general point. Let's play some fucking games. Okay. Logging camp. I'm just checking. Like it seems. Wow, that's a lot of. It seems as though the. I was about to say, where did the music go? And I wasn't gonna be too disappointed by not having the music. I've already turned it all the way down, but yeah. So it seems as though the info screens, like explaining to you like what to do, are the same here as they were. Yeah, we don't want this by. And I can't see shit. I gotta get closer to my screen. I actually do kind of want to knock down some shacks, but I don't have anything to rebuild. Oh, fuck it, let's make them homeless. Let's get them pissed off. $800 to quick build. Let's see how fast they go. I'm not speeding up from regular mode.
Great news! We found out how to use the muskets the Crown sent us. Apparently, all you have to do is pull the trigger. Our research was seriously hindered until we discovered you should not look into the barrel when pulling the trigger. We lost a lot of good men that way.
Okay, and we've got the other two things being done. Anyways, let's see if this is getting built now. We're good. We didn't need to waste the $800. It's fine. I know it's just a tutorial, but practice makes not perfect in this case, but better.
Good job. The logging camp has been completed.
I wish he'd go past the first. I guess he technically does the first paragraph, but when the paragraph is a very short sentence, it sucks. Every production building will be serviced by Teamsters. Yep. 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 All that's the same from what I recall. What's the deal
All
here?
buildings have allocated budgets. These encompass the money spent on them each month.
What? This is something that I would
You're funny.
Oh, wrong one. I would never do this. I don't recommend doing this. I think it's a really poor choice. But the tutorial wanted me to, and it's done. Popping out. We're 6 out of 12 or 7 out of 12 now. Still only halfway there, huh? Alright.
With the planks research completed and the logging camp ready, it is time to build our first factory, a lumber mill. It will process logs from the logging camp into the more expensive planks resource. Don't forget that you have to connect the new lumber mill to the road network.
So he went past the first paragraph on that one technically. Maybe he does that. I don't know. We'll see. Also, if you sweet 3,200. Wasn't paying attention to what we were before that though. If you're like, man, why is this dude going through the whole tutorial on a stream? Well, the thing is, I don't know. You know, people might have never played this game or other games like this before. So, you know, I absolutely want to make it so that they see kind of start to finish, as I would want to do on kind of all games that I stream. However, it's not going to be practical if I only have 7 days to do this. So we'll see how that goes. But
Edicts
here we are.
are special laws that you can issue.
Yeah, see, that one he stopped after the first one, so I don't know what the deal is. All right, so I'm gonna read this, even though you can read it yourself. But this is just putting money into your Swiss bank account, which is something that you kind of have to do for other later versions of the later aspects of the game, or if you just want that to be how you play the game, in terms of trying to essentially have your the biggest golden parachute that you can when you choose to retire from the thing, which is basically retiring from the game, but who knows. So nobody works as hard as you, toil, yada yada, approve this edict, get something in your Swiss bank account for every building constructed on the island. The thing that sucks is you do kind of take away from, maybe this is just me and my social sciences background here, but the thing that kind of sucks is that, but it's true to real life though, so that part's cool, I guess. It's not just a thing that you can do that only benefits you. Like, there is a loss here when you do this. The effect is increases the cost of all buildings by 20% of their base price. Half of this increase is added to the Swiss account when a construction is finished. Now, I've never played this game while discussing it, quote unquote, publicly. Granted, understanding that there's literally nobody in the room right now, but somebody can watch this when I'm done, when I finally post the replay. So the whole thing of like you pad costs, and then you get to keep some of the padded costs here in the US at least, politically. What's the nice word I can use without offending them? Let's say underground, which usually those two go together, as well as like just outright illegal activities, even from people who might not have thought that they were illegal people, of, you know, padding their costs and then, you know, inflating it, you know, money laundering, tax evasion, that type of shit goes on every single day. Probably happening right now. Might be happening in the building that you're currently in while you're watching this. Not a new concept. I mean, the fact that they're pointing this out in what I think is, we'll find out when we get past the tutorial, but I'm pretty sure that, I mean, it's colonial times, but so who knows? So I don't know. I don't remember if Tropico 5 is putting you into like 1500, but I think we're actually in like the latter 19th century. So not super old. And then I know the version that I played got into the future of when I was playing it. So it was like, you know, it was past now. I was like past like 2020. Not a ton past it, but still past it. And you play that throughout the whole thing. Like, even if you start in, say, like 1880 or whatever, you play from 1880 all the way up to 2020. But you do tend to skip large chunks of time in between each one of the ones. So sorry, spoiler alert. I don't know if as I said, I wanted people that watch this to be able to see the whole thing from start to finish, but I'm also kind of giving away, I guess, some of the stuff that's going to happen. One of the things that I would say about this, though, that I've never really thought about from previous times of playing this, is that second sentence, half of the increase, pardon me, half of this increase is added to the Swiss account when a construction is finished. Right, cool, sure, okay, so you get half of what you increase it for. Now, the building permit costs us 1,000, and that gets taken from the treasury, of which currently says 7232. I felt like, so that building of the, whatever the fuck we built, we built the log, so I probably should have done the building permit before building those two buildings, and I will do that in the future, but this is a tutorial, and I don't think that any of it transfers over when we start the actual game. However, those are two buildings that were built, and the cost of which, sure, would have increased by 20%, but then half of that increase, which, if you want to think about it, like whatever the cost of a building is, the base cost, you can effectively get 10% of that into your Swiss account by issuing building permit edict or enacting it after you've issued it or whatever. But the thing that's kind of interesting is that I've always remembered that it increases the cost by 20% and that you get half of that, right? But what about the other half? You know what I mean? Like, where does that go? Because when you build a building, it gets taken out of the treasury. And without trying to get too much into this whole thing, I think that, you know, individual citizens, which is what they're referred to in this game, and anyways, we'll just say citizens, they can have more or less money, and a lot of that can be impacted in terms of the money that you give them directly, indirectly, you know, through the wages that you force. The whole thing is a controlled economy. So you saw I just increased the quote-unquote budget at the Teamsters office that effectively raised wages for all of the current employees of that particular Teamsters office. Now you can also, we'll see this later, you can also set it up so that it changes it for all buildings with that building type. So effectively all Teamsters offices. I don't know if this tutorial only has the one Teamsters office. That would seem to stand to reason, and so I could, because even within the tutorial, it basically lets you do whatever you want. You don't even have to actually complete the tutorial. You can just continue to fuck around with the tutorial, and then I don't know, I guess wait until that 6 year, 8 month time frame runs out and see what they do. I believe though they just extend your edict or mandate or whatever the fuck it's called that makes you a governor of this Tropico. So it's not like you know, basically commit suicide by just not doing anything. But you have to do some stuff because, you know, they can revolt or people can come in and attack you and stuff like that. So you'd have to do some stuff. But my point was, like, if I've only got the one Teamsters building right now, I absolutely could build another one, and we'll see again if PC is different than console. But if I recall correctly, what would happen would be, if you've only got the one version of a building currently, and then you go to build a second and or more versions of that same building, it sets the initial budget based off of what the budget of the first one is. So the fact that it's up to the max right now, it's 5 out of 5, or 4 out of 4, I forget which, means that if I went to build another Teamsters building right now, it should do it at the max as well, if it follows how the PC version played out. I never really liked that, and I'd prefer if it went off of whatever the base was, because these citizens are like super temperamental. Like, which is fine. The realism is cool. All the numbers that we're seeing on the screen, left side, right? As I said, 6 years, 8 months. That's how much time is left on the mandate. It's harder to see, I think, on my end. So I don't know if you can see it that well on your whatever screen you're watching this on. The treasury is the dollar amount. All this, I think, was pointed out in the tutorial, but whatever. I don't know. It's not here right now. So the treasury is the dollar amount there. It's $72.32, so $7,232. The thing that looks like a person is people. That's 104 citizens. And then the thing that looks like a thumbs up, that's your approval rating as the currently called governor, but essentially the dictator of this little tropical island. It's 20%. 20% is not good, as it is in well, stay away from modern politics, I suppose, but 20% is not good. It's not good for this game. You're going to need to get that up later in this game. Currently, we're not really focusing too much on that. So, is what it is. And all I was saying is that when you up wages, when you decrease wages, you know, when I just basically destroyed automatically the 2 shacks because I put the logging camp on that spot. Not even kind of that there might not have been that great of trees behind it, but whatever. It's a tutorial. It doesn't fucking matter. I just wanted to kind of kill the shacks, and shacks are the only residential buildings that actually probably the only buildings at all. Especially the only residential buildings that you can demolish at any time at no cost. They just go away. And so it's nice that you can just put other buildings that usually are going to be more important for you, at least, and hopefully for your country as well, in place of those shacks. The shacks immediately go away, and then as you see, it takes a little time, depending on your settings, for the building to get built. And we're not doing anything else in terms of other types of residential buildings yet, although there are, looks like fucking 5 more tasks after this one. So one of them could be building the lowest level residential building, might be a tenement apartment, we'll see. I don't remember. As I said, I played this, I remember a lot of it, and I remember it more so as it comes up as opposed to like exactly what to expect next. Yeah, so my point was, number one, like, you don't really want to be making a ton of adjustments, because it can really fuck with the citizens in terms of their feelings towards you, and you definitely do not want to have to withstand a coup. In this version, in Tropico 5, as opposed to previous Tropicos, it just like almost never works in your favor. It just seems as though the military are almost always involved in it, and then you have either no one or you have like your special police trying to help protect you, and it's not going to work out so well for you. Anyway, all I was trying to get at, though, I think on that half of the increase added to the Swiss account, so the same amount that's going to you in your Swiss account is going somewhere else, right? Because it's getting taken out of the treasury, and I would think that would be paid in the form of wages to the builders, so that could be good. But if it's going to something else, or to the future antagonist that will pop up after the tutorials, then that's no bueno. Because if it's going to the builders, and therefore being taken out of the treasury but going to the builders, it could be beneficial. It could be adding in a kind of fake way. It could be kind of adding net worth to the country as a whole. And even though people can and do leave, generally builders who are getting a little bit extra money from this permit, I wouldn't suspect would be first in line to get on the boat to get the fuck out. So we'll issue
Let us build something, like a few cheap country houses, to see how this corruption thing works.
So we're gonna build country houses. They're actually pretty decent residences, especially early in the game. And then we need to earn $500 in the Swiss bank account from constructions. And this is going to happen from just the country houses alone. Where do we want to put these? Yeah, I'll put them here. I mean, as you can see, I don't know if this is for the entire, it's not for the entirety of the game, but it could be for the entirety of what's available here, except for, I guess, modern apartment. But again, the version that I played had more choices than this. I'm almost 100% sure. But yeah, you can see country house there. Obviously is less expensive than mansion. The other ones that are not available, unlocked in World Wars, unlocked in Cold War, unlocked in modern times. So I don't know, maybe modern apartment is going to be the last one that's going to be available. You can build ones on the water too, but I think that's I don't know if that's technically considered under residential. And there might be like waterborne, I think is probably one of the DLCs that you'd have to fucking buy just to even open that up. But yeah, so these other ones you can't even do. I could build a mansion right now for 4,800, but the thing wants us to build country houses. That's what we're going to do. As you see, it provides housing for 4 families, provides food for the residents as well, which is different than, unfortunately, I can't show you all the other ones. This one is also 4 families. Beauty improves the housing quality of the mansion. Basically, it's just, obviously a mansion is going to be better than a country house, but is what it is. I'm having trouble seeing, so the thing on the end, there we go. Okay, that's like there's gonna be like sheep and shit there. So actually, wait, we already have one of these? Huh. Wait a minute, what? Oh. I think I was going to put this backwards on the other one. Why does it not have... So the game built it backwards? That's the front of the house, right? Am I totally missing something here? It's the front of the house. Why would I want it to not face the road? That's really stupid. Okay, here we go. Oh, and they also didn't want me to build more than one. I forgot about that part. Okay. I don't know if I really want my country house being that close to there, but whatever. How many are we supposed to fucking build? Definitely not paying 1,800 for this. Oh, I wasted all of the treasury's money. How much do these things fucking cost to build? I don't even remember that. Those are soldiers coming back. Or exploration. Just checking to see if there's any okay, because I guess this is a tutorial, maybe that's why they didn't find out what that is there. You don't really know what the RSS is going to be until you get into it. What's going on, dude? What are my guys building something else? I thought all the building was done. All the building was done, right? Let's move on to the next one here.
Let us build a production building, Presidente. Everybody likes animals. Let us build a ranch. It can be useful both for feeding our people and producing resources for export.
Suddenly we have 94.58. I don't know what's going on. I felt like we were down to like 800 there. I didn't see any messages come up in terms of, maybe it's just because we're in the tutorial. I don't want to... Oh, they won't let me? What? Can you take any guesses as to any individuals or types of central planners that I... Oh, what's going on here? Hey, those are connected. Fuck that, man. Oh, they're still building the... that's why. They're still building the lumber mill or whatever. Yeah, I was trying to see if you could figure out which of any central planners that might be influenced by. Let's go put this out a bit. That's fine. And now we can build things that they want us to. Yeah, I kind of want to see. The thing is, when it's highlighted like that, I'm colorblind, so what's that? It goes from being like a natural sort of green color to highlighted, kind of more yellow. Means if I put this right here, which I think I will, then it'll knock down that tree. Losing one tree usually not gonna be the biggest deal in the world, but you know, if I were to put it like you see that many more get knocked down there, like that's a ton. That would normally. Oh, this one, it's actually knocking down 3? Oh no, because it's not up against the road. Just the one. Fine. I mean, right here is well, I built them in the opposite of what I should have done. The log camp and the lumber mill. So we you know, part of the economy. It's just a tutorial, I know, but you want to try to set yourself up for how you're gonna do these things in the future. Your whole thing is built off of cutting down trees, and thus far you don't have any technology set up for that as far as like reforestation or anything like that. So the trees are going to go away and then they're going to be gone. They don't respawn, they don't repopulate. So they're a resource, and then also there's kind of, and I don't think they tell you specifically what the locus is in terms of its region that it covers, but it's got a specific span that it covers, and so when it determines that there are no more trees in its area of concern, it just ceases operations. You're still paying people that work there, they're just not actually working and they're no longer producing. That's basically what it says. There's no more production coming from the building, essentially. That's no good. There's no way these are all green. I mean, the game clearly wants us to do cattle, so we're gonna do cattle, but whatever. So how are we doing on this one?
Automatically exported at default prices, but more profitable trade offers will appear from time to time. The trade button allows you to inspect different offers and set up trade routes. Add ships to start a trade route, remove ships to cancel an active route.
So he did talk through the whole thing on that one too. I that's my memory from the game, is that he basically just talks through the first quote-unquote paragraph and then that's it. I prefer if he talked through the whole thing and wouldn't make me have to say it out loud. So we're starting trade routes now, or routes, as he points out. And that shit, we got one coming in. Can I pause, yo, stop. Pause the time. Ooh. Oh, okay. All I'm doing is selecting it, that's fine. Trade. No trade routes. Okay. Planks. Export planks to USA. Fuck yeah, dude. Default price is 1,500. We're gonna do it at 2,100. More than happy. Can only do. Only got the one ship. The one ship lollipop. So, this is what it is. Start exporting planks. I don't think we're actually making any planks yet, though, right?
The managers are either your dynasty members or exceptional citizens whose skills can improve a building's performance.
Assigning a manager to lumber mill, select workers tab, the info panel. Sometimes might not be available on the island. In this case, you may have to wait until a new dynasty, that's what he just said, member or skilled citizen appears. Assign a manager to the lumber mill. There will be one available. I haven't done any assignments. I've got people already available. Oh. Wow, there's a fuck ton, dude. Whoa. What do you... Oh, that's different. I don't like that at all. Pressed over. What the fuck? From this screen, I pressed over and it moved. Oh, okay. Let's select first. So a bunch of foremen, landlord, mentor, and supervisor. The foremen are all basically the same. They're all 1 star, so it doesn't really matter. Ah, damn, a freighter just came on here, though. So we did the manager. We're good. We got 10 out of 12. As soon as the Swiss bank account... Oh, so there aren't going to be any new ones. The Swiss bank account needs to get $50 more, which will happen when the ranch gets built. And then when the ranch gets built, that also completes the other tutorial task. Basically been chilling right around 10k here. Building demolished. There you go. That's what I was talking about. I put it in the wrong fucking spot. And now it's going to get demolished anyways. I don't have to touch anything. It just does it automatically. That is a problem. I wonder if, because that was a requirement for the tutorial. Nope, we're good.
Presidente, you are like a good father to the entire Tropican nation. Some may say that you are just too good.
The final tutorial will teach you how to keep those pesky Tropicans happy, deal with the political factions in the island, stay in power. Getting at what I was talking about. I mean, they go through a lot of, almost everything that you're going to need through the tutorials. So if you're going to play this game, if you're going to play the game after watching this, I feel like you should have understood a fair amount from having watched this. But I also talk a fuck ton, and it's not about the game and other stuff. So to do the tutorial itself too, gets you familiar with the controls and stuff like that. I'm going to take about a 30-second break before jumping into this next one, and I will be right back. All I'm going to say on that last one there, the fact that it completed, it was completing basically. I mean, technically speaking, the logging camp did demolish completely prior to the ranch being completely built, and therefore completing the last 2 of the 12 tutorial tasks. So it's hard to say, but I would be interested to know if there's a longer gap in there, like a minimum of a month, but closer to, like, in this game it's more like 6 months to a year between when those 2 different things happened, when the logging camp completely demolished and when the ranch was completely built, to see if the game would have still considered that to be completion of the tutorial and success rate, etc. Right? Because building that logging camp was one of the tutorial tasks, and it would seem strange to me, even within the confines of a tutorial, if you could just build the camp to get the task out of the way and then, like, demolish it. It would be strange. So anyways, I'm gonna pop off of the mic again, hopefully 30 seconds or less. Be right back. We'll click OK here. We'll jump on to the next tutorial, which is either gonna be the last one or the second to the last one, and then we'll get into the actual game, which is gonna be pretty similar to this, just without as much of hand-holding and kind of forcing you to do one step after the other, and gives you a lot more in terms of freedom, individual freedom as a leader, in terms of what you want to do for your gameplay. And again, like a lot of Sims and a lot of games out there, technically speaking, could be kind of like the whole black hat, white hat thing, but this is a different take on that, that actually came out well before a lot of that stuff came out, just in the sense that you're technically overseeing a nation. It's not much of a nation yet. They're referring to it here as the entire Tropican nation, but is what it is. So it's basically, if you want to be a dick of a leader, and even within that there's variations. You want to make it just all about you. You just saw in here in this tutorial that you can not only create but also pad your Swiss bank account, and that is going to be important for at least one of the scenarios that we will play through the missions setting. But yeah, I mean, throughout the entire game, as I said, you could make that the focus of whatever it is that you want to do. And you play standalone, you could do that as your only focus. And without giving too much away about the game, there are other ways in which you can basically just be a dick as a leader, whether it's through edicts, which I didn't mean to make that whole dicks through edicts thing, but you can do that, and there's other stuff too. There's some nefarious kind of stuff, some kind of fun stuff. We'll play along with it a little bit. Anybody that has watched previous stuff on this channel which at this point would be, you know, basically just RDR2, would know that I originally started doing that game with the intention of playing 2 concurrent versions through different saves, of one as Black Hat, one as White Hat. It was not fully tenable, in my opinion, to try to do that. It could be done. It's not for me. And so I for sure went Black Hat a lot. Maybe not necessarily more so than White Hat, but then also, without getting into too much of it, like the supposed White Hat stuff that I did was, if I'm donating animal stuff for provisions, if I'm saying hi to not just people that I know, but also strangers in a town that I haven't been in before, and that's it. I just say hi to them and I move on. In my personal opinion, I don't think that really makes up for me just going on a killing rampage and shooting and killing entire fucking towns, and any lawmen that show up from it. So yeah, so it is what it is. Here you're gonna see a bit of that, I'm sure. For me to have fun in this, which there's nobody in the room, as I said right now. There's nobody in here watching this as I speak. People can join later, and then from there people can watch the replays. I'm gonna Black Hat it a little bit, for sure. I have in the past. I don't see why I wouldn't in this one. But I think probably because I am streaming, some of the Black Hat stuff that I expect to do, outside of the ones that they kind of almost force you to do in the game, I'll probably do more like with a purpose, to like kind of show what can be done, as opposed to me just kind of fucking around because I'm doing it on my own. I think more than that, I'll take a more serious approach, I think, to my pass through this campaign, when we get to the campaign mode, of trying to get like kind of true success, you know, like happiness in the citizens, keeping them happy, getting as much money into the treasury as possible. We'll see what choices I make in terms of the Swiss bank account, and other stuff like that. I won't focus as much. I'll try to be a benevolent ruler, I guess is what I'm trying to say, which I guess you could say is playing it White Hat, but I'd be doing it for the purpose of trying to get as much success for me personally as I can from the game. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's like kind of circular logic. But that's what we'll do. I said 30 seconds, and then I talked for 5 minutes. So I will be back in 30 seconds from now, and then we'll click OK. We'll do the probably last tutorial, second to last. We'll find out, and then we'll get into the campaign and the meaty stuff. Be right back. Alrighty, let's get cracking on this. I think we have to do a dinner break or a mini dinner break sometime soon, but let's go. Moving on. One of my favorite parts of the game is what you see there on the bottom. Unfortunately, it goes pretty quick, but I forget where I saw it. I don't know if
Welcome to the third tutorial. It will teach you how to advance to the next era, create a constitution, keep your people happy, and deal with internal factions and foreign powers.
Yeah, two things. I just got super hungry, like in like the 2 seconds while I paused to let Penultimo talk. At least mini dinner break thing is going to have to happen soon. What I was saying is the thing at the bottom, they're like facts in a lot of cases, quotes, direct quotes from different world leaders. It's fixed though, you know, and I can't imagine that there'd be different ones in this version than there was in the one that I played. And there was a website, I don't remember if it was created by PopTop or whatever, but there was a place that you could go to see the full list of the quotes that go on the bottom of that thing, and it's not just quotes, it's also like comments or facts or whatever of things that different quote-unquote leaders around the world have done. It's very interesting. It's part of the fun of the game. I'm glad that they included that in there. Anyways, on to the third tutorial and possibly the last one. We will see.
Tropico is currently in the colonial era. We are subject to the whims of the crown, and you will be removed from office when your mandate, indicated above the minimap, expires.
Most advanced buildings are unavailable during the colonial era. The economy depends almost entirely on production of raw resources. I'm going to refer to those when I speak of them as RSS. Special tasks from the Crown grant extended mandates, population, and money as rewards. We will probably see that during this tutorial, considering it's only giving us 4 years. But 45k in the treasury, 100 citizens again, and 15% approval rate. I mean, honestly, in this game, these motherfuckers just do not like you, the people that you are presiding over. And it's not just because of what you think that you're a despot ruling over a banana republic. There's other reasons too. It really is. Take a quick look. See, so we're in the exact same place that we were, but I get it, it's a tutorial, right? So there's nothing actually kind of new. Let's get on this though right now because there aren't a ton of shacks that are built yet.
Hidden political factors are active in Tropico during the colonial era. The royalists and the revolutionaries. Other factions such as the militarists, the religious, the communists, and the capitalists become prominent in later eras.
Yeah, very much true. You have a standing with all these factions, and the higher the standing is, the more likely is for their supporters to vote for you during elections. But beware, as you try to appease one faction, you may alienate their opposing faction. You know, a lot of realism there. Objective, check out the politics page in the almanac to see the factions active in this era, which he already, spoiler alert, he already gave away, is going to be, at least as far as political factions, which is what we're going to be looking at on Political's page. It's the colonial era, so it's the royalists and the revolutionaries. The other ones are really key and very cool in later eras. We'll get to that. Okay. So they put it under independence. I feel like I'm paying more attention to things than I ever have before in this game, just because I'm doing this quote-unquote publicly. So from this screen at the bottom of independence, is it just people that want independence, or is that I don't know what that means, really, honestly. fact that this is a download, I don't have a book. This is another reason why I'm doing this tutorial, so I can kind of remind myself about stuff. But Royalists plus, pretty good as far as whatever that measure is. Slightly less than Royalists plus. Neutral is less than those two, but in third. Revolutionaries plus seems like a sliver, but is actually in fourth because the true sliver is Revolutionaries plus. Now Royalists says hated 10. That's essentially on a scale to 100. And there are 53 supporters there. Revolutionaries, good standing, 70, and there are 5 supporters. Getting very much confusing myself in terms of what the fuck any of this means. Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought. So 70 is actually the number of these people. Wait, what? Oh. So supporters. Yeah, okay. Supporters is the number of people that support that movement as opposed to supporting you. And we are hated by the Royalists, and we are in good standing with the Revolutionaries. And the crown is neutral to us. It's an interesting kind of starting point, even for a tutorial. And yet you see, when you click in here with the Royalists, like, his approval is 7... What's a girl? Sorry. Juliana Gonzalez, her approval is 73. It's the highest one there, and it's the highest one of any citizen, colonist. Despite the fact that she's in the group that currently hates me, and is probably part of the reason why my approval rating is so low. I mean, at 15, but you get through these, like, 50 is good, man. You want 50 for sure, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know where I wasn't paying attention to the names. Hold on, sorry. I don't know if Ivan Martinez made it to this list or not. He did not. Okay, so it's 7 on this screen. And then like another 8 or so that are all at 1. 1's the lowest you can get. And in fact, their overall happiness almost across the board is 0. Approval is 1. I think maybe approval can get down to 0. I'm not sure, but that's a fuck ton of people at 1. Doesn't get much better. 2, 3, 6, 8, 10. Then it jumps from there. And we got a bunch with pretty decent. I mean, especially when your approval is 15%, you're going to take 40. You really are. 73 is crazy good. And then over here you got like nothing. You know what I mean? Like you got 2 that are super high, 2 that are super low, and 1 that's in the middle. So I'm not sure. That could just be, let's see, they don't have, yeah, so at this point they might do this during this tutorial. Factions get
As
leaders.
you saw in the almanac, the progressive revolutionaries are on your side, while the royalists oppose you, just as they oppose the idea of an independent Tropico.
Yeah, so as I said, certain advanced buildings and researches will encourage more people to become revolutionaries. Openly defying the crown will also make the revolutionaries faction grow, but may have dire consequences for you. The revolutionaries have long demanded some military structures of our own. Let us let us construct 2 guard towers. This will encourage more people to join their movement. All right, so it's a tutorial. We're going into the whole independence thing. Wrong button. Let's put the guard towers. I don't know why I always tend to do this. Why is it? Oh, first of all, again, colorblind, so I don't really see red all that well, especially not on green. That's what I'm red green colorblind. This structure, and of course they won't let me put it right on the road. Oh, because it. Hold on. I'm gonna cancel that completely. I know it's annoying, right? I want to build roads all the time, but it's very key for the game. What would that look like? Don't need to go up into the mountain. Oh. No, I'm not. There we go. Yeah, see when it gets on the slant like that, even though that makes sense, I don't like it. Like going square. And then they don't typically let you build somebody in the room right now? Oh, I just took a screenshot because somebody is here. If that's you, that just you haven't made a comment, so it's not going to show your name here. I think I also have like comments and stuff like that turned off. If you're the person that just chose to follow, thank you. Feel free to sub to the channel. Oh, 2 people in here now. All right, good times. Feel free to sub to the YouTube channel as well. We are currently doing Tropico5, but we will be doing other things as well. Good times. All right, so we're just building some roads there. Our task is guard towers. If I could get over to the red. So now with this, I'm gonna want it as close to the road as possible and as close to the docks as possible. I'm trying to see if I can figure out where the front. Okay, that has a front to it, right? Do I want them to be able to access that end of the road or that? I think this is the one we want. I think we're only supposed to build 2 of these. Yeah, we're good. We're on pause though. This is the tutorial of Tropico5. But we're into, this is the 3rd, and the shacks are coming out already. Building the shacks. I don't have other buildings for them to live in. It's not my fault, man. I'm doing what the tutorial tells me to do. Now it's interesting that they're taking the road all the way over to the side like that, right? Because, oh, and then he gets out and then goes. Okay, good. That one went out to the other side. Anyway, this is the 3rd tutorial. It might be the last of the tutorials. If not, there's probably one more after this. I'll accept your friend request in a bit and try to jump through this stuff as much as I can.
Good job! By meeting the revolutionaries' demands, we will attract more people to their cause. Support for independence will grow, and Tropico will finally be able to progress beyond the colonial era.
Person sending me messages, I will respond to them. I'm not gonna do it during this though. I at least need to get through the tutorials and stuff like that. I'm probably gonna take a little bit of a dinner break if I choose to kill the stream during that, which I don't usually do. I can maybe go over and check out the messages and stuff like that. I'm gonna focus on this for right now though, if that's okay. Thank you for the subs though to the channel, much appreciated. So okay, let us see how the popular support will grow. Wait a while until the popular support grows to 51%. Holy fuck, that's going to be very difficult to do. But it's a tutorial. They're gonna cheese it for you, make it easier for it to happen. We're only at a 3 out of 12. Oh, that just means never mind. It's not 51%. Or is it? Yeah, because it says 11. So that was what I was talking about before. I changed the budget of that one, but I did it with the triangle button. So if I click into this one now, you'll see it's already changed as well. That small change had a little bit of an impact in being able to increase the popular support. Got it up to 34%. I mean, as I said, 51 is crazy. I'm not building houses for these people at all. I'm not really doing anything. Yeah, I know. I need 51% to be independent. We're getting there right now. It's happening. And the next one goes up.
If Tropico stays in the colonial era too long, your mandate will end, and a new governor will take your place. Time to declare independence and proclaim Tropico a free country.
Our actions to this point have already secured enough popular support, and the revolutionaries faction is strong. Objective advance to the World Wars era. This only happened because it's a tutorial. Is that you never able to get this quickly in the actual game.
Presidente. Woo, I'm getting ahead of myself. Governor. The island is ripe for revolution.
Your approval rating is high enough so that you can proclaim independence from the crown, and we can finally be free from their stupid demands. It kind of sucks. I guess it's just a tutorial, but there's a lot of good stuff that can happen from the crown. I mean, whatever. We got 35k in the treasury. We got the support of the people. I guess it's okay. I mean, you got to do it anyways. You got the tutorial forces you to do these things. Technically, I can click on not yet, but there'd be no point in really doing that. But you'll see when we get into campaign, and we also start as non-independent in the colonial era, in the campaign mode, that you can definitely benefit from stuff from the crown. And then even when you do what we're going to do right now, proclaiming independence, you become an independent free state, you can still get stuff from your original colonial overseers. You know, in this case, they just refer to generally as the crown. Later, you realize that there's specific nation states. We're going to proclaim independence. Here we go.
His Majesty is most amused by your declaration of independence.
He is currently not very interested in your little island anyway. If you pay to the Empire for the losses it has incurred from you, you'll be allowed to be independent. Otherwise, the royal forces will come for a small visit. Now, they don't give you a choice. Usually you get choices in these sort of things, and you can basically tell them to fuck off for the 20k. But we're going to buy our freedom. Probably should have taken a screenshot of that. I'm too far away. I couldn't see what exactly just happened there on everything that was listed.
Each era features several foreign powers. During the World Wars era, there are the Axis and the Allies.
Foreign powers are important because they provide financial aid, foreign aid, and because if we piss them off too much, they will invade us. To start diplomatic relations with them, we should construct an embassy. Objective, construct an embassy. I'm not going to do that first. Let's see what this other one is.
Free Tropico is ready for its very own constitution, Presidente.
Yeah, I like this one better as a first start. The Constitution is a document in which you set the principles of our young nation. Each decision you make while drafting the Constitution will have a special effect on life in our great country. Our Constitution principles affect greatly both the foreign relations and the internal politics. The Constitution can be amended once every 5 years. That slightly adjusts in the game. Less and more. New Constitution, well, usually just less. New Constitution principles will become available through research. I'm going to draft this.
El Presidente is here at the Jolly Roger. I was really hoping to interview our glorious leader. But when I asked him what's in his head, he said rum and cola mostly. Pure Zen. I have never heard such wisdom from any other leader.
I turned, as you can tell, I turned subtitles on. I think it's helpful for what I'm doing here, just in case people can't hear as well or whatever. All right, so all right, that's cool. You got all the DLCs. You weren't here when I went through the whole thing before about how I have no intention of getting the DLCs. I'm playing this on PlayStation Now. I did not purchase this game. I do not expect to purchase this game, and if I do, I don't really want to buy the DLCs because I've already played this game in its entirety, in my opinion, on the PC version of it, which is kind of why I know some of what is to be expected from these things. So yeah, I'm not going to pay $35 to open up all that stuff. So I guess you could know, and you can leave a comment for me, and I guess I'll check it in a second. Does that mean that if that was one of the questions I didn't know and was going to try to find out and was going to be interesting to find out on my own, is it going to keep me from being able to get to those aspects of the game that I've already done on the PC side because I had all those things? I didn't have to buy the fucking waterborne or mass destruction, or whatever the fuck they call it, DLCs, just to be able to open that stuff up. So I'm just gonna play the straight game as it is with no DLC, and see how far it goes, how easy it is to do. I'm also just kind of checking to see the difference between the PC version.
I can see Tropico is becoming the tropical paradise it is supposed to be. More and more people are abandoning the hustle and bustle of city life to settle in shacks and live as one with nature. Right on, people. The beach is big enough for everyone, and my bar works 24/7 to satisfy all your worldly needs.
It's like I could have sworn that I was paused. Do we have 3 people in here now? Hello. How are you doing? So there's only 2 people in here, and now 1. What are you guys doing, man? Like I have this set up so that I'm not paying too much attention to comments, and I'm the only one reading them. Okay. If you're, I don't know, dude. Here we go. Anyways, back to the game. So usually you have a ton of choices with Constitution. I don't know if it seems like what is triangle? Oh, what the fuck just happened? Well, first of all, pause. Yeah, this is not shit. This is not as I remember. No, fuck. Okay. Yeah, it's very different. Get used to the controls, I guess. Oh, okay, yeah. So we click on this, and then we get to choose between. These are just the 3 types of choices that we get. So for voting rights, you can either leave it as it is with wealthy citizens vote. I mean, you guys can read this stuff. I don't need to explain the whole thing to you, but it is what you would expect it to be, right? So starting at the top, male citizens vote. Affect fewer voters based on chauvinist gender discrimination. Persons who are citizens of the state and find themselves in the rightful corporeal possession of male physique are to be hereinafter known as voters. Voters possess the legal right to cast their vote for the person known as El Presidente on elections. Otherwise, you can do wealthy citizens. Again, effect is fewer voters based on reactionary wealth discrimination. You guys are going nuts with the comments. I don't know what the deal is here. Why no webcam? I'm doing a tutorial, dude, like for Tropico5. I don't understand what a webcam would do. Matt B, why are you like, you're gonna need to stop that, bro, or I'm just gonna remove you, honestly. So anyway, fewer voters based on reactionary wealth discrimination. It is what it is. Wealthy citizens vote. I'm not going to read the whole thing there. It's just if you're considered wealthy in the game, you get to vote. It's male and female. It's not just limited to males in that case. Or you can do all citizens. Effect is more voters based on crazy liberal ideals. So as long as there are citizens, they get to vote. Is what it is, right? And then within religion and state, you can do a theocracy, a secular state, or an atheist state. So theocracy, religious buildings lower crime in their vicinity, and that's the only place where they limit lower crime. An atheist state, research is faster by 10%, but there are less religious citizens that appear. Pardon me. Otherwise, you can do kind of middle road secular. Increased liberty, happiness. So it's freedom of religious worship and atheist expression is to be respected and observed. So those are kind of the choices there. Armed forces, you either do a militia, conscription, or professional army. The militia effect is high school soldiers. Additional militia squads raised in battles can be very helpful. Conscription is no education for soldiers. Essentially, all citizens of Tropico are considered soldiers and owe themselves to the defense of the nation. And the state enlists citizens to conscription, to which they oblige subpoena. That's not the. Anyways, conscripts are considered ipso facto. they're just making up shit here. Willing to participate in all operations conveyed by the state. Otherwise, the last one is professional army. Effect is high school soldiers, high effectiveness. The state of Tropico is guarded by the legally formed army. The hereinbefore mentioned army is a corpus of standing levy of combatants who receive and follow orders by El Presidente and receive sustenance quid pro quo. Well, yeah. Okay, the last one was actually correct. Quid pro quo. So the issue is there's more choices than these usually, from what I remember, because one of them requires them to be even like more highly trained, and we don't have a high school on the. Again, this is just a tutorial, but I'm just thinking ahead. Later we'll have a chance to build I don't know if it'll be one of the tasks in this tutorial, building a high school. If so, then great, it'll help for the completion of this. If not, then that's a problem. But in other ones you need to be like college or plus, and that can be kind of tough. And then obviously the difference is if you do like no education, then technically they're all part of the soldiers, but this militia thing can definitely help. As I said, if you get raided and by an external force it's not currently on the thing, then that can help. They technically are supposed to be able to help. I mean, it says, I guess I didn't read this part, but obliged to act as combatants during the defense of the state against all and any form of invasion, rebellion, coup, insurrection, insurgency, mutiny, revolt, revolution, riot, or uprising. So, you know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to fight for you in every type. Proclaims all mature citizens legally capable and obliged to act as combatants when it happens. So it can be helpful. I think in this one we're just gonna go with militia, and go with atheist, just because I think that we're gonna be doing some research, and it would be helpful. And yeah, let's just make all citizens vote. Fuck the wealthy. Seems like we got some chicks on our side too. So why don't I get to? I'm supposed to be able to select the seal.
Special prize today. Everyone who guesses a number of the current amendment to the Constitution wins a free drink. Anyone who has even the slightest idea what's in it will also get a drink, because he's definitely not drunk enough. Finally, the grand prize for the night and any other night. All cute guys get a free date with me.
Okay, so I guess that's done.
Each era features several foreign powers. During the war...
Alright, we're going to construct the embassy. Doesn't really matter. Gonna do it again. Gonna build some more roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Oh, cool. We get to. Oh, damn it. That sucks. Don't. Ah, God damn it. Can I. How do I. Where's the demolition? Disabled the tutorial. Great. So. Call me anal if you want, that's fine, but it's not square. It sucks. I'll finish the goddamn road anyways. Can you not go on a complete? Thank you. Such a wasted space. I could have killed that shack back there too, that sucks. Alright, we'll go and build the goddamn embassy now. Wow, it takes up a lot more space than I remembered. I guess because I'm closer in. Is that the front? Yeah, that's the front. Okay. Solid. I don't even know if we're even building anything else right now. Let's go with that. Okay, so that just wants a manager.
So bad that I now declare us finally free of the harmful influence of modern medicine. No more compulsory inoculations, no more tracking chips in our dental fillings, no more physician's oath keeping the cute doctors from dating you. Who cares about healthcare anyway?
Okay. Huh. None of those are good for pals. Adulterers. Oh, nobody. Wow, nobody's working in the palace. What is going on here? Something is. Cost $1,000 to bring in foreign workers? Fuck that, dude. Boom.
Elections are coming, Presidente. No dictator likes them, but they are usually the better alternative to uprisings and military coups.
Okay, we're gonna accept
Elections
this.
are coming, Presidente. As our constitution dictates, we have scheduled mandatory elections for 12 months from now.
So there's gonna be an election in 12 months. We're the only member of our dynasty at the moment, so it's gonna be us.
Our embassy is ready. Time to invite a...
I don't know why it feel like it should tell you which one you're... I guess I have to go into the almanac to do that, so fuck it, let's just invite
You
the
have
allies.
invited the allies onto the island. This will strengthen our relationship with them, but worsen our standing with their enemies, the Axis. Be advised, poor relations may result in retaliation against Tropico. As election day draws near, it may be a good idea to check to see how happy your people are. This and other helpful information can be found in the almanac. Low happiness values indicate that the Tropicans are not happy with certain aspects of their life on the island, such as the lack of entertainment. Let us build a tavern to address this. This may take some time. You will start to notice the tavern's effect a few months after it has been completed.
Okay, so we want to put the... Basically, you want to put the crime shit in one area. And then you want to put the stuff that benefits the palace close to the palace. I can't see. Okay, that's the front. Actually, just do quick build. Fuck it. Because you don't want... You want them to have to come a little bit of a distance at least before coming after you in the palace.
Let me direct your attention to another important edict. The sovereign debt.
When you buy Tropico's independence from the crown, the country starts the world wars in debt. Debt may also be created by issuing bonds to get money in a hurry. Borrowed money will incur interest. Objective, repay the sovereign debt. Except... in here. Okay.
Fiesta time, Tropico! Come over to the Jolly Roger and celebrate the bright future ahead of us as a nation. Tonight, the future is paying the tab.
Not at all what I wanted to click on. You're gonna let me do other. Okay, cool. Interesting. Doing our best to
I hear a
buy.
lot of complaining from people about the lack of priestly attention lately. I've been sinning left and right, and I haven't confessed my sins to a young, muscular friar in quite a while. I can feel my spiritual needs tearing me up from the inside. I cry for salvation, young priests.
I just noticed just now that I was like, why are those trucks going all the way out in the end? They ended up putting the logging camp and and probably the lumber mill as well way out there, which is good, environmentally speaking at least. I don't know when I want to do Mardi Gras as it relates to the campaign. Oh, that was really stupid. I don't know why I did that right before January. So we just got foreign aid too. How much? Didn't say. Usually it pops up on the top left screen there. Now we're 60-40. 7 months. Kind of want to do Mardi Gras in the final 6 months. We get entertainment happiness up to 10. That might help. I don't know what to do. Here we go.
Let me explain how service buildings such as our tavern work. The tavern provides people living in the vicinity with entertainment, thus increasing their happiness.
Certain other buildings provide various services like religion and healthcare. People living closer to a service may take better advantage than the ones living far away. The tavern has the capacity to service a certain number of people. If the population grows larger, you'll have to construct a new entertainment building or suffer reduced entertainment happiness. And we're 11 to 12, so that's why there's no new tasks. You have to win the election. 6 months. Got a fair bit of money. Maybe it's just me because I'm doing this on a very big screen. But I kind of feel like I can get a better sense of where the entries and exits are on some of these things from this version than I did on the PC one. That appears to be the front there. Yeah, good to go. 1200 for quick build. Let's see if we need to do that. Let's see. Those shacks. There are shacks, okay. So I was gonna say on this one, I was not gonna do it based off of where the front was. I was just gonna plop it down. Because the shittier residential buildings you can sometimes just kind of put down. Build everything with high priority, I guess. Gained 1% that month. Just because I mean, they are what they say they are. They're tenement buildings. You're putting people into places. It doesn't really matter. If we had more builders here, I'd build more. I guess we do some quick builds. How close is this getting to being done? What is... Shit. Okay. Finish that. Moving over here. 34. I'll get done. We got 4 months, yo. Better hurry. Wow, 3 months and we didn't advance at all. That is a problem. If I had more time, I'd build out infrastructure to be able to do the other things that we wanted to do, but can't. So we got a Catholic mission ready. So we could do church. We are atheists though, so it's, you know, it's weird, but whatever. I mean, the game is atheist. It's a choice we made. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen sidewalks before in this game. It's interesting. $48.52. Oh, wrong one. Time for... Oh, what was going on there? Oh, we don't, okay. We don't have anything, yeah, it's gonna take forever. I don't, unless we have a library somewhere where I'm unaware of. Oh no, see, this is what I was talking about in the last one. These ones are not triggered yet, but because they're in the correct one, they're letting us put it into the queue. And the queue limit to use, I can't put any more in there. $52.48 is pretty solid, in my opinion. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I wanted to... Don't know if we have any money left.
We have an opportunity to influence the outcome of coming elections. Strictly speaking, this is not considered exactly legal, but I guarantee that no one will find out.
Polls predicted you'll get 45% of the votes. It like dropped significantly in the last month. I mean, it's only 4 points, I guess, but considering we did shit that should have brought it up. With the help of some math voodoo, a couple of bribes and a full bullets, we can manufacture additional votes. Some Tropicans won't like this, don't know why, and we may have to deal with a few unhappy people as a result of our election tweaks. Well, it's a tutorial. You do what you gotta do to win. I can't really slow the game down, so we're just gonna let this play out. To the end of the tutorial. Going into the election, got a little bit of a bump there, without actually increasing the month from 53 to 47. Obviously 47 in a popular vote situation is not enough. Something tells me we might be able to pull it off.
The election results are in. Thanks to a clever interpretation of the numbers, we've decided that you have won. Presidente.
It may have taken a few extra ballots here and there, but we managed to secure 58% of the vote for you. 43 Tropicans were persuaded to vote for you, while we failed to convince the remaining 31 voters. Your opponent called to complain about election fraud, but some uniformed men changed his mind. He's now proud of his second place. I thought we ran against a woman, but okay. I'm going to click OK, and that the win the elections thing is going to go away, and then tutorial tasks is going to be 12 out of 12, and this tutorial is going to end. If we get another tutorial, if there's a fourth and final one, I guess I'll go through that one. If not, I'm going to take a couple minutes at least, go grab a bite. Like I say a couple, meaning like literally two, and I'll basically be here the whole time. I'll just jump off of the mic and let the game just chill for a second if we go into campaign mode, just so I'm not extremely hungry, and then I'll come back and do whatever. Here we go. And the election goes away.
Congratulations! You followed all the steps and won the tutorial. Not that that's especially hard to do, but hey, a victory is still a victory!
Actually, you can't imagine how many people failed this easy task. Anyway, on to the new and more exciting challenges. Okay, so I'm not going to click X here. I'm going to take a break for probably 2 minutes, and I will be right back on the mic. We're going to click continue at that point, and we'll probably go into the campaign. I don't really feel the need to do a bunch of saving at this point. However, if something happens, if I get some sort of message that I'm going to need to respond to, or if Mafia 3 ends up finally finishing its download, I will do that. Or if I need to pause during the first or second campaign to go check and see if Mafia 3 is even downloading like it's supposed to be. We will see. But I think that was supposed to be like 3 hours that it said it was going to take to do that. So anyways, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue and then get into the campaign mode. I'll keep the mic on while I do that. I'll probably talk through a little bit of that. I don't think that this is gonna be needing me to be on all the time, even if I somehow manage to get through whatever the ending of this version without the DLC is considered to be, in less than 7 days. So it is what it is. I don't need the mic on for that whole thing. And plus, I got food here now, so I'm going to be eating that, and you don't need to be hearing me eat, but you're going to probably hear a little bit of that, because I'm going to eat it before it gets cold, and I'm going to hit continue. We're going to go into campaign mode. Here we go. Oh, cool. I wonder if you can see this. Nope. Yeah, so I clicked on DLC. It is, yeah, it sucks. It's, Epic Meltdown, $5. Espionage, 10. Hostile Takeover, 5. Waterborne, 10. Paradise Lost, 5. So as I said, it's 20 for just 2 of them, and 5 for the other 3. So that's how you get to 35. Pretty easy math. I don't know why they feel the need to show our whole place burning down. Wait, new game, low game. What the fuck? Oh, okay. So it didn't consider. Maybe it's be a good point to take a break then. So I'll just leave this one as a tutorial. I'll take a little quick break, probably 10 minutes. And I'll leave this screen, and then I'll start a broadcast up again. Again, probably like 10 minutes or so. And we'll go from new game, which I think if I just click that. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna go into campaign. Sandbox is the same thing as Sandbox is an editing game. If you just feel like fucking around and don't want it to be like, I don't want to use the word, but I have to here, like mission driven. Whereas like mission is typically just a one-off, and campaign is an overall thing. So we're gonna go into campaign when we actually start this. And I feel like there's nothing in here for save, so I feel like I could just exit, honestly, and it should be fine. However, when I close the application, I guess we'll find out if it's going to end the broadcast. If it does, peace out for now. See you very soon. If not, then I'll be even more surprised because of all the stuff that I was able to do in PlayStation Now, including re-downloading or attempting to re-download Mafia 3. I'm going to close the application. Peace out if need be. Otherwise, peace out very soon after that.